Hey folks, welcome back to the show today. This is the second part on our episode of SDSS 2020, in which we are talking about various health tech and life science themes that will be covered at the conference. And today we have a real fun guest who knows more than a few things about podcasts herself, Stephanie Hicks at Johns Hopkins University. She actually hosts her own podcast, so be sure to check that out. And she'll actually be coming back on the show, I hope, if she likes this interview enough already.
Thanks, Glenn. Glad to be here.
Thanks. Yeah. So Stephanie, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your own research interests before we hop into the SDSS conference?
Sure. So I am an assistant professor in the Department of Biostatistics at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in Baltimore, Maryland. I've been in this position for about 2 years now, and I joined the SDSS 2019 program committee last year, and the second time the meeting was run, and I'm joining again this year on the program committee. So I have my role as being on the program committee entails, for example, identifying individuals to put together invited sessions for various tracks. The track that I'm in charge of this year, co-in charge of this year, is the education track. My co-chair is Rebecca Nugent, who's also one of the keynote speakers at SDSS 2020 this year. And I have really enjoyed being a part of it, and I look forward to the event.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed is that you're something of a super volunteer within the ASA. You're also involved, I believe, in the WSDS conference, and among other things, you pop up in a lot of places.
Oh, there you go. So I'm involved in the Women in Statistics and Data Science Conference because I am on one of the ASA committees, specifically the Committee of Women in Statistics, run by the ASA. And this year, I'm actually the chair of that committee, and Lucy McGowan is the vice chair. And so because we're the chair and the vice chair, we get automatically put on the program committee for WSDS. So that's also something I'm very much looking forward to this year.
Great. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your own personal research interests real quick so we know what you're up to academically?
Sure. So my own research interests kind of sit at the intersection of statistics, data science, genomics, and public health. So I am specifically interested in developing methods to analyze genomics data. Basically, genomics data is very, very noisy, and statistics is very good at removing noise and biases and teasing out interesting biological signal that researchers are very much interested in. And then I'm also have a strong research component focused on data science education. So a lot of that stems from work with my colleagues here at Johns Hopkins who work in the Johns Hopkins Data Science Lab. They've put together massive open online courses for data science, such as the one on Coursera. And so I've sort of taken an interest in trying to figure out how we can make data science education more efficient and better for students. So that's another area of my research.
Well, that is really cool. And so now on to the main event, the SDSS 2020 conference. It's really nice to see that there were so many different sort of health tech and life science tracks that were involved. And I think one of the really nice things about the conference is that it is a very good mix of both academic research and a lot of the industrial, and brings in a lot of industrial speakers too. So it's a really enjoyable conference. And there's a really good continuity between carrying over themes from last year and carrying on themes that were covered previously, and also introducing some new ideas. Can you give us some of the highlights that we can expect for SDSS 2020?
Right. So this year we have 6 tracks, and I hope that Dave lists them for you, but I'll just give you a brief rundown again. There's an education track, which I'm involved with, the computational statistics track, practice and applications track, data visualization track, machine learning track, software and data science technologies track, and then we also have individuals on the program committee who are tasked with community engagement and short courses. So we have quite a big group of people on the committee. And things that we are carrying over from last year that I really liked are, for example, e-posters, electronic posters. So last year in Seattle, we had a very nice setup where the e-posters were directly in the middle where all the action was. So we had people coming outside of rooms from talks, and they were directly looking at posters. And so there was this nice mix of poster session and talks that overlapped a little bit in the time. So for example, e-posters would begin a few minutes before a session would end. So as people were starting to exit a session, people would start to engage with posters during a coffee break. So I really enjoyed that aspect. I don't actually know what the physical setup will be this year in Pittsburgh, but last year I really enjoyed it. So I hope that that's carried over this year.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds awesome. Especially, there's always the challenge of making sure that people are engaging with the poster sessions and really how to organize the ergonomics, if you will, of the conference to make sure that you're sort of maximizing that surface area of interaction.
Yes. Another thing I really liked that you mentioned is that this, because it's kind of sits at the intersection of stats and computer science, there's a nice mix of data professionals who come from industry, academia, and government. And I feel like this is one of the main conferences where I feel that the most out of ASA conferences that I attend. So other things that we were carrying over this year are workshops. So you can pay to attend workshops on June 3rd, the first day before the conference begins. And things that are being introduced this year are, my understanding is, vastly expanded career building opportunities. Specifically, for example, there's a sponsored student meetup event that I believe is happening on Thursday. And then we're also carrying over a very popular event from last year, a speed mentoring event. So I attended the speed mentoring event last year and I really, really enjoyed it. So I was glad to see that it's back this year. Some other new things that are happening in SDS 2020 is that for the first time, we're going to have a refereed contributed session. And this idea was modeled after these well-established systems in computing conferences. And it really provides an outlet for working at the intersection of statistics and computer science. So I'm really excited to see that.
Cool. And if you don't mind me asking, who's your mentor?
Who's my mentor? Oh, I was one of the mentors last year. I mentored students.
Okay, cool. Very, very fun.
But I can always use more mentors.
So, I'm right here for you. Yeah, I'm not useful in any real professional development, but yeah, cool.
So I just wanted to mention we also have 3 keynote speakers this year coming to SDSS 2020. So Rebecca Nugent, she is in the Department of Statistics and Data Science at Carnegie Mellon. And she's really a national leader in data science education. So very excited about that. Jeanette Wing, she's the director of Columbia University Data Science Institute. I've seen her give talks several times now, and she always knocks it out of the park. She was previously the vice president of Microsoft Research, so there's this nice nexus that she brings between industry and academia. And then, of course, Rob Tibshirani from Stanford. He is an incredibly influential developer of statistical methodology, writes wonderful books that I use in my classes, so very excited about that as well.
Yeah, I think that speaks really well for the conference, that each of these 3 speakers is somebody who you definitely, after you've heard them once, you always want to listen to them the next time they talk because they are so engaging and so interesting. So yeah, it's always exciting when you get to hear those speakers who you know and love from the statistics, the various aspects of statistics.
Yep.
Cool. And did you want to cover anything else, or here's one session that's worth looking out after, or?
Well, so I've organized quite a few of the education tracks. So data science education, statistics education is something that I'm really excited about. And I would encourage listeners to check those out. I don't believe I actually said the date or the location. So SDSS is June 3rd through June 6th, Wednesday through Saturday in downtown Pittsburgh. I myself have not been to Pittsburgh before, so but I've heard wonderful things. So looking forward to that. And yeah, I believe registration and housing is open, so feel free to register at earliest convenience.
Great, Stephanie. Well, thanks so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of the conference, and it's always nice to see a good conference continue to develop, keep the things that they did right in previous years, really work to make sure that the attendees are getting the most that they can out of it, the presenters are getting the most that they can out of it, and really maximizing that interaction between everybody. As you know, as statisticians, sometimes it's not always easy to, say, hey, stranger, come over here and hear about my newest method or newest analysis. But I do like that the conference organizers are making it so easy to maximize that interaction.
I just want to give a shout out to the program chairs, Dave Hunter and Wendy Martinez. They have done a fantastic job of wrangling us program committee members to do our jobs and help organize these tracks. So I think that they've really been engaged. We've been using Slack as a form of communication to discuss how to do all the organization. So it's been a real pleasure participating this year.
Great. So SDSS 2020 powered by Slack.
It's the future.
Yeah. Great. Well, Stephanie, thanks so much for your time today, and I look forward to having you back on the show
Sure.
in, I guess, next month.
Yeah. Thanks, Glenn.
Great.
Looking forward to
Have a
talking to you
great
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this episode of the Pod of Asclepius. We hope you enjoyed it and will tune in for our next episode. If you're watching from YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. You can also follow us on our other social media channels, including LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a great story or presentation that's ready for prime time? Or know someone who does? Drop Glenn an email because he'd be happy to hear from you. We would like to thank our sponsors from the American Statistical Association section on Statistical Learning and Data Science, section on Medical Devices and Diagnostics, and North Carolina chapter. The views expressed on the show are those of the speaker and not their employers, our sponsors, or anyone else not saying the words.